This is a pretty unusual ride, guys, because that lead bike that just took off is a Honda CR500. 500cc two-stroke. You can see the smoke pouring out. The engine in that thing is 2.5 times the size of the engine in my bike, and it is a complete beast. The guy riding it is Greg. He does not have studded tires, and he put us all to shame. Now normally this part, by the way, enjoy that huge cloud exhaust from the CR500 there. I usually don't show this part because it's pretty boring, but I had to include it today because this is as close as I get to Rich for basically the rest of the day. The ride to this point is the same as it usually is. We go down this transfer section and everything seems more or less normal, and then all of a sudden Greg takes a left. No one's ever been on this trail before. We have no idea what lays in wait for us. It's going to be great. I was really enjoying this trail. It's very smooth and flowing, probably if you're good at riding a dirt bike, and I was just having a great time. Mostly though, I was focused on keeping my speed up to try to catch back up to these guys, because I know that Greg and Jay are flying out front, and I hate to make them wait. So I'm pushing, and making like no progress. Such is life. It's so funny to watch this back and see Rich up there in the distance, because if you had asked me right this second where Rich was, I would have said he was like 4 minutes in front of me. It tells me a little bit that the head games and the self-doubt, not particularly accurate, certainly not helpful. So just focus on the riding, let the rest take care of itself. see it, you can see it. I need a downshift there, and I didn't do it. I got to get better at that, and I think looking further up the trail would help quite a bit. I can anticipate a little bit when I'm going to need second instead of third. This little section here was kind of tricky. I suppose on a normal day I would have thought I'm supposed to go straight, but you can see the trail here is to the left and then curve around. It looks tricky, but it's actually pretty easy, especially if you have some momentum going into it. I cannot wait to ride this trail again. I think with just one look at it, I'll stop making stupid mistakes like that, where I just don't have enough momentum. Gotta go for it. Yeah, you can see from the little caption I put on there, I think that my foot was actually hitting the rear brake on some of those climbs. As I rotated my body weight forward, I think my toe just tapped that rear brake and killed the motor. I mean, obviously stopped me and just stalled me out. Because usually the 200 does not have any trouble on stuff like that and rarely stalls out. So, a little rider error there. Easy to fix. If you saw the river loop video, you'll know that pretty early on in that one, I got wet twice in about 5 minutes. And man, I was just really reluctant to get wet. Just picking my way through those little spots extra carefully. I think the right thing to do is hit it with some speed and just fly over it. Of course, I tried that later, and it didn't work out too well. But let's not get ahead of ourselves.
This is a rough one.
Are those guys in front of us or behind us?
Oh, they're probably back at the fucking trucks by now.
It's a good loop. I think it's more interesting than the other one, but maybe just because it's new.
Yeah, and we're not supposed to be here.
Pretty incredible to think that here we are right in the first week of February and there's just this very thin coating of snow on most of the trail. Tons of sections are just wide open dirt, frozen dirt, but still dirt. Very fortunate this season, plenty of riding to be done, and with Rich to drag me out there every weekend, I'm taking advantage of it. It's great. Greg and Jay have kind of waited up for us, thank goodness. I wonder how long they've been here.
My balls are in my throat, but we're good.
I threw up, but I'm good now.
Yeah. You know, Rich and I think, are not doing too bad here for our first time through this loop. Pushing pretty hard, at least I am, and not making a huge number of mistakes. Of course, it does just take the one proper mistake, and you are in serious trouble. But no, we're doing well, and I think we're both riding pretty aggressively, all things being equal, and getting better, which is all you can really ask for. That'll be good for YouTube. Not totally sure what the hell I'm doing there. I think indecision. Trying to pick just the right line instead of knowing that I can get away with a whole bunch of lines and ride right over the top of that stuff. Next time. Yeah, the GoPro really flattens out this section here. Some of it was pretty steep. Not like hanging off the back steep, but definitely like I could easily go over the handlebars steep. It was fun.
Yeah, the fear of God was in me back there. I was completely just like, I whiskey throttled into a rocky section, into like kind of almost hitting a tree. And then I was just like in my head, like, what are you, And then I got up that hill and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna relax.
So is this the end of the trail?
Yep, that's it.
Okay.
Truck's on the other side of this hill.
Okay, this part is actually hang off the back steep. This has got to be like 30 degrees, maybe 25. Really, really fun stuff. But I think you can go a lot faster there if you know what you're doing. In my head at this moment, I'm thinking about that guy Greg on his CR500, who probably like rode a wheelie through this entire section, even though he doesn't have studded tires. And in my mind anyway, is now like having a cup of coffee and a cigarette 5 minutes up the trail, patiently waiting for me. And that whole section right there shows how good the studded tires are riding all through ice. It's all just one giant sheet of ice, and I have no problem going through there. It does make you wonder about the guy in front of me who does not have studded tires though. One thing that's kind of hard to capture in these videos is how hard you're pushing and how close you're coming to your own personal limit before you crash. I was pushing hard, and as you can see in a minute or so, it doesn't always work out just the way you'd hope. I guess that wasn't the easy line. So as you could probably see on that slow motion video, it looks like the front got deflected to the left by a rock, and then when I set it back down, I basically got like high-sided, but by the front end, right into the ground. It wasn't great, obviously, but looking back on it, I think the problem is not having my weight far enough back and not having the gas open to keep that front wheel up and over all of that stuff. Next time. Those rotors, these are second wheels.
Yeah.
I bought those rotors because they were cheap.
Yeah, how do you guys ride with those goggles on your face?
I was good
because my eyes water, and I'm not even going.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
You have to consciously like extra blink. You got to keep on blinking when you're riding, otherwise. Big gob of leaves.
Yeah, that might have been from one of the times I went off trail. Intentionally, of course.
Show off.
Yeah.
So this is actually the proper entrance to the BT loop, and again, I mean, just a really fun ride. I've cut way down on the footage here, but you've seen all the representative parts. I can't wait to ride it in the summertime. I mean, dirt biking in warm weather. What a novel concept. Looking forward to that like you would not believe. Stay dry. Affiliated for dry.
supposed to be sunny today and it's overcast.
And
I
then
checked the ground. It's still pretty hard.
Yeah.
You did? Yeah.
Oh, you fell?
No, he checked the ground.
Yeah, just checking.
Just check.
I mean, you guys are doing the static check, but I wanted a dynamic reading. So I got...
Typically more accurate.
Well, you know, if you can't keep up with them, at least make them laugh. Stay tuned, guys. Stay safe. Have fun. Mildly retarded.